Welcome back, fight fans, to another video here on the Fight Game. Gennady Golovkin will go down as one of the best middleweight boxers ever. His fan-friendly demeanor has made him likable to millions of people around the world, but it's his fighting style that makes him so many people's favorite fighter. When you're watching a Golovkin fight, you can expect to see violence to the max. Heavy-handed power and a chin of steel enables Golovkin to push action inside a boxing ring without stop, without slowing, to no lesser degree. His work rate is impossible to keep up with, which leads us to describing him as simply and quite literally unstoppable. In 42 bouts, Golovkin has not once touched the canvas, and for the vast majority of them, his opponent has. He is currently on his second middleweight championship reign. And for this video, we take a look back to the past to take a look at just 3 fights where Golovkin looked absolutely unstoppable. For our first fight, we travel back to 2015, where Gennady Golovkin took on Willie Monroe Jr. Golovkin had since gained the reputation as an unstoppable monster, but Monroe was known to be a crafty southpaw boxer, and many thought he may find success in keeping Golovkin at bay with the jab. There was also talk about how Monroe may be the first to bring Golovkin the full 12 rounds to end the 20-fight knockout streak. Well, those thoughts were far from reality. The fight began with Monroe snapping the jab out and Golovkin moving his head. Monroe started the fight with great rhythm and confidence until he was met with Golovkin's first right hand.
To open up and fire some heavy shots. There's a hard right hand.
Golovkin's looping shots helped greatly with keeping Monroe in front of him. Both fighters had landed clean so far, but you could tell Golovkin was the much stronger boxer. The second round saw Golovkin land much cleaner. Trying to keep Golovkin at a distance is an impossible feat in the boxing ring. Eventually, Golovkin will find his path to land that devastating blow. One clean hook to the jaw knocked Monroe down. Watch how Golovkin swings his head to the right side before the hook. In general, a boxer's eyes usually follow their opponent's head. With Golovkin bringing his head completely to the side, it made the looping left hook, which was thrown from down low, almost impossible to see coming. Monroe got back up but was quickly knocked down again soon after. Monroe got up and fought to see the end of the round and managed to survive until the sound of the bell.
As Jack Reese warned on the low blows, and Golovkin with one.
Golovkin took his foot off the pedal for the next round but still kept the pressure on, landing clean hooks. Even Golovkin at half throttle is still a whole lot to deal with. In the next round, Golovkin barely bothered to keep his hands up, letting Monroe punch him almost as if he enjoyed getting hit.
Hitting Golovkin. That's exactly right. That's exactly.
Golovkin took the punches as if he wanted it, motioning Monroe to come forward after, as if to say it was nothing. He continued to fight as if he wanted to make it a war, as if he loved the trading of shots. No matter what Monroe did, Golovkin just seemed completely unbothered. No matter what shot Monroe landed, Golovkin just kept coming forward. The beatdown got more severe. Nothing Monroe was doing seemed to inflict any sort of harm to Golovkin, and he proved that he was no doubt the best bang for your entertainment buck. In the 6th round, Golovkin would score the final knockdown.
It hurt even worse. He's out of here.
Monroe opted not to continue the fight. Who could blame him? He was in the ring with an absolute monster. Another victory for Golovkin once again, inside the distance. Although Golovkin is indeed a man, nothing about him seemed human inside that boxing ring.
Thank you very much for my fans. Thank you very much, my home. Thank you, people.
For the next fight, we look to his encounter with Curtis Stevens. Stevens had plenty of trash talk for Golovkin in the build-up to the fight.
And come Saturday, I'm going Gennady up. Have a good day.
But Golovkin, of course, found humor in it.
Hey man, are you serious right now?
The fight started with Golovkin placing his position in the center of the ring. Golovkin and Stevens are very hard punchers. This fight was not expected to go the full distance. The fight started much like a jabbing contest, but it was Golovkin who found the odd opening for the right hand. Stevens dealt with the punches very well. The second round saw Stevens gain more confidence. He targeted the body more. Stevens was doing good, he was keeping his composure, but Golovkin quickly put him back in his place.
Good left hook by Golovkin. Down goes Stevens.
A great knockdown from Golovkin, landing a great looping left hook over Stevens' lead hand. It was the first real taste of Golovkin's power, and I think this face from Stevens says all you need to know. Stevens got up and managed to survive to the end of the round.
Seconds to go in the round. Body shot. Wobbled Stevens with it. One more right hand, and the round comes to a close.
Golovkin brought more confidence into the following rounds, and although Stevens put up a fight, nothing he was doing was stopping Golovkin from walking forward. Golovkin was cutting him down. Making sure he had no time to rest. Constant pressure in a boxing ring is not only physically demanding, but mentally too. It's mentally draining, and with that comes lapses in concentration, and that's where Golovkin thrives.
Now Golovkin with a body shot and a right cross, and momentarily hurts Stevens.
Golovkin's right hook around the side of the guard worked wonders. As the fight progressed, Steven began to have less of an answer to Golovkin's grinding beatdown. Even though he had heart, it was no match for the fierce and destructive attacks of Golovkin.
If we get a knockout by Golovkin, it's going to be the submission of will variety.
Stevens is trying his best to stay in the middle of the ring.
He wobbled Stevens with a couple of shots and is still seeking a knockout as the round progresses. Big right cross by Golovkin. Whipping Curtis Stevens into the corner.
The corner would stop the fight after the 8th round and give Golovkin another technical knockout victory. Fighting Golovkin is no easy task, and with the trash talk before the fight, Golovkin had the last say.
My last question for him, I asked him, "You serious? You serious?" Okay, yeah, I'm serious.
This next fight is one of Golovkin's most impressive victories, his win over David Lemieux. Much like Golovkin, Lemieux was known for devastating knockout power. It was a clash of two boxers with primary objectives of inflicting as much pain as possible.
He takes those shots from me. I don't care if he's a robot, he's going down.
A true slugfest was expected with two come-forward pressure fighters facing off. But the fans were treated with something closer to the realm of the sweet science. Golovkin fought not with the all-or-nothing so-called Mexican style, but with disciplined boxing, derived from his lessons back from when he was an amateur. The fight began with Golovkin establishing his jab. He knew the power Lemieux had and knew to stay focused. He kept him at the end of his jab and boxed a range style. This was much different to the close-quartered style he'd boxed before. And even though the main highlight of Golovkin was his power, he had also been technically better than all of his past opponents. Golovkin used great footwork, defensive skills, a snappy jab, and lengthy punches to outbox Lemieux. This was really a boxing masterclass, jumping in and out, controlling the distance with his feet, and occupying Lemieux's defenses with the jab. Golovkin's heavy-handed power was snapping Lemieux's head back with every punch. In round 4, Golovkin landed this perfect left hook. There's a saying in boxing, never hook with a hooker. Watch how Golovkin has his right hand protecting his face as he throws the hook, while Lemieux does not. Both fighters throw the same punch, but it was Golovkin who scored. Golovkin would continue to do the outboxing with poise, scoring to the body and head. Soon, Golovkin scored a knockdown with a great body shot. However, he ended up accidentally hitting Lemieux just as his knee touched the ground. This was likely not deliberate and simply a spur of the moment. Massive props to Lemieux for getting back up to continue fighting. Lemieux fought with great heart, but the hellacious battering only worsened. And despite Lemieux's greatest efforts, it was inevitable that the referee would stop the fight. This was a great fight for Golovkin. his first on such a large stage, and one which would further accelerate his rise to the top of the sport's pound-for-pound rankings.
Gennady Triple G Golovkin.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, consider giving it a like as it helps us grow the channel. We'll see you in the next video here on The Fight Game.